Hi, welcome to our Going Deeper in Rebuilt. And I'm Father Michael White, and this is my pastoral associate, Tom Corcoran, with me. And we're going to be talking in this session about meetings. And I guess I'd just like to say right up front, I'm a big fan of meetings. I love meetings with a purpose. I think that they're a great place to communicate, to share information, to learn more about what's going on, and really even to clarify your thinking in whatever kind of ministry you're doing, whatever kind of parish setting you're in. You should be having meetings. If you have a staff, you should be having meetings with them. If you have volunteer leaders, you should be having meetings with them.
And that said, there's no right system to how to have meetings. And we've kind of learned, and in talking to some other pastors, that there's never a perfect system for meetings, that meetings are going to be in flux. And so I think sometimes we think there's got to be the perfect system or the perfect way to do meetings and how many meetings we have and how long. And that's just going to be something we have to constantly evaluate. And also just acknowledge a little bit of the tension with meetings there's a tension between we need to make sure we're getting on the same page and accomplishing the things that Michael had talked about. But also at the end of the day, we need to get some things done and there needs to be some productivity. So again, that's just another tension and something to discern in our meeting schedules, and especially with your staff or if you are volunteer ministers, what is the right flow to that. So we're going to talk a little bit about our current structure with meetings.
Okay.
And then, so a little bit, one we want to say about all staff meetings. So we have, with our staff, we have a few all staff meetings. We have a Monday lunch.
But not all meetings are all staff meetings.
That's a great point to make too. And we had to kind of grow into that because we did at one point have all meetings were all staff when our staff was very small. When our staff grew, we needed to break it up a little bit. So our all staff meetings on our Mondays. At that meeting, we try to just celebrate the weekend and the good things that has happened and just be together as a staff. Anything you want to add about the Monday meeting?
Recognize what happened, sort of punctuate the past weekend and hit the refresh button, begin again. Sometimes the week in, week out grind of parish ministry can feel like a treadmill. So our Monday meeting and lunch is just about sort of drawing to a close one week and starting another one.
Yeah, that's a great point. So putting in a finish to the weekend. Then on every other week we have what's called a pastor's meeting, and this is where what is shared is maybe things we want the whole staff to know about informationally, or things. It could be a learning meeting about what we're learning. So anything we want the whole staff.
We put a big value on learning together and continued learning as a staff, and so we build in times where we do that.
And then finally, we have a meeting on Wednesdays. It's about the weekend coming up, and we just try to get on the same page. Hopefully not too many decisions are being made there. We're just kind of clarifying and getting on the same page about what's happening. Sometimes little tweaks are made, but that's our all staff meetings. Then, as I said, we have other teams that meet. We have an adult ministry team. We have our family ministry and our creative team, and they all meet in their own individual teams once a week. And as well as our strategic oval team, and that is the kind of core leadership of the church, of staff members, where we come and set direction for the whole church. Anything you want to say about those other meetings?
The only meetings that I chair of all of those meetings are the pastor's learning meeting every other week and the strategic planning meeting. I don't chair the others. Other members of our team do. In addition to those staff meetings, we also have meetings with our parish leadership. We've got all of our staff have teams of member ministers that they're meeting with according to their own schedules. Additionally, we have leadership level meetings with our parish council, our financial council, our strategic planning team, our development team, and others as well.
And so with those meetings, obviously those are about getting wisdom from people outside outside the staff and pouring them into us, so that we're again getting more, as we said earlier in the video, getting people on board the mission of the church and the vision for the church, and getting more wisdom and counsel. So that's the value of meetings. So going forward for yourself, again, we would encourage you, one, to evaluate the own rhythm of your meetings, knowing that there's going to be a tension and a stress, and it's never perfect, but to evaluate your own meetings. Some questions we have written down here is, again, do you have a time for your whole staff to get together and just celebrate what God is doing and put a period or exclamation mark on the weekend? Do you have a meeting of your core leaders where you're setting the whole direction of the parish, and do you have a meeting where you're getting some wisdom from other people? Do you have a meeting where you're learning together as a staff? As I said, we put a great emphasis on learning, and we would encourage you to have some time to do that. And finally, do you need a meeting that focuses just on the weekend, or helps get everybody on the same page on the weekend? Do you have that meeting, or do you need to put it into your schedule? So we hope this was helpful. Any final thoughts to add?
Enjoy your meetings. Thanks.